Hello there, I'm Sconchulus, and this is Teppen Deck Teck, where I present to you decks that are fun, strong, or interesting. Today we are playing a deck that's all about momentum, Nero's Hey Nico. Ever since this art was buffed, it has regularly been played with MP ramp to give us rapid access to our 3 random cards, all of which will basically win us any trade on board. Tomboy is the best one, making a win condition out of any unit. The deck got a couple new tools to play with in Defying of Light, first of all being RiCO. This card has MP boost 30, more than the usual, and will give a unit in our hand 2 HP. The buff really lets us stay on board and makes Hinagiku in particular much scarier. We also play 3 Nana, who doesn't boost as much MP but costs 1 less to use, as well as 2 Mia Fei. In the games today, I was playing 2 Honda Tadakatsu instead, which I think is fine. It can steal some games, especially with Tomboy, but it makes our black matchup a lot worse as a beacon for Titanic Gatekeeper. Mia, on the other hand, lets us push our advantage when we're already ahead on board and is generally much more versatile. She's also the best unit for Tomboy, along with RiCO, since 4 MP puts her over Effluvium and under Gatekeeper. To make all of these units slightly scarier, we are playing the Angry Feline engine with 3 Mad Cats, and the Mad Cat's controller, Hinagiku. Almost every unit we have is 1 attack, so Hina is a natural way to convert our momentum into pressure. If we can drop Tomboy on her, we can usually win right there, or at least force some very bad trades for our opponent. One positive with Feline in this deck is that if the unit he buffs dies before he does, he usually won't have anything else to destroy, since our units are mostly 1 attack, right under the threshold. That means we can save our Surge of Malice for another cat, or to seal Chun-Li's. Surge also has excellent synergy with our first boss monster, Residence Leader Karen. Karen is a bomb that immediately shifts the board massively in our favor. Just keeping 1 other unit alive to get buffed by her is a ton of value after already sealing the board. Karen does have a bit of a target on her head, so actually getting the buffs off of her will usually require stay close to protect her. You should always save this card for a big moment like Karen, or as the one way to stay ahead after sharing memories. Our other legendary units are When Something Smells, which protects anything on board and makes setting up Karen extremely easy, and the new Revived Guardian Gar. He only does anything once you're down to 10 health, but when you are, Gar becomes one of the strongest units in Teppen. You can place this card right in front of any Chun-Li to basically mark her for death when he's unleashed. If you can combine Gar with Kanzuki Resistance for 4, he becomes one of the most unfair cards ever printed, swinging for 6 unblockable damage every 5 seconds. This is actually extremely easy to set up with Gar and Feline both being different dual tribe units, and has very little counterplay when it does happen. Our last couple cards are Caged Co-Conspirator to dodge Brainwashed, 3 Wall Jump since the goal of the deck is to win trades, and 1 Sanctuary's Gate for the same reason. It's best used with Karen. Last of all, we have 3 Silent Guardian, completely replacing any need for Ramen for the Road in the deck. This card can shuffle back Tomboys, Shields, or our legendaries, and is in my mind the reason to play this deck right now. I like to use this card when there's only 3 or so cards in grave, so I know exactly what I shuffle back. But shuffling back our Nico actions is the most compelling thing to do with it. One thing to remember is that when you chain an action, it doesn't hit the graveyard until it resolves. So if you activate Shield and then Guardian after that, it won't shuffle back the Shield. You have to do it in the other order. Last of all, I should point out that I'm not playing Chun in this build, because she's almost sure to be nerfed, and I don't really want my wins able to be credited just to that one card. If you don't have this personal problem with the card, and want to win slightly faster, you can replace the Feline engine with 3 Chun and 3 Summon minions. I think this build is more fun though, and is slightly better against removal, since you diversify your threats, but Chun will win the game a little faster. Here's the deck QR for you, and with all that said, let's get into it. Game 1, we are up against Dive Attack, one of the hero arts that has just about replaced Kikosho on ladder. I guess people realize that winning more is better than losing less. We'll start off with Nana to get our MP ramp going, and our opponent will play the Blue Badger. We'll play another Nana, and our opponent will play Nibblesnarf in the bottom lane. If they played it in the middle, they would have taken out our Nana. We'll use Cody's request to make the Rashid even more dangerous, and while we have the opportunity, we'll play Feline and go for a huge Karen play. Our opponent plays Chun-Li the moment after we do, and they'll use Wall Jump, which just about forces out our Surge of Malice on Karen and their Chun. Our Feline will be destroyed, and our opponent will ascend Chun-Li over their Blue Badger. We'll play Hinagiku in the middle lane, and we will search a copy of Gerbera to our EX. We only need 4 to go top now that they've used Cody's request so that we can trade with their Chun-Li, and we get just about the perfect split. We clear their entire board, and we will play another Hinagiku, sealing our sealed Karen. Our opponent will play another Nibblesnarf, getting another Rashid, and we're able to make quick work of it with the Hinagiku moving in. We'll play a shield on her so that she can keep her pressure going. We will get our opponent down to 7 HP. They will play a Nibblesnarf with no target, and when they realize it, they'll surrender game 1. Game 2, we are up against the deck that you gotta beat if you want to compete this season, X Heart Tank. Hopefully we can pass the test. We'll start off with RiCO, which will add 2 HP to our Feline, and we'll start charging as much MP as we can. Our opponent doing the same can only mean one thing. They will play Huntsman, and we will respond with the strongest play we can muster right now, Feline into Karen. Our opponent will activate Raging Dust Cloud, which gives us the exact MP for Kinzuki resistance, which will make a big difference in cracking their board right now. Our opponent will use Spell Severance, which would destroy our Karen if we didn't have Sanctuary's Gate to leave her with exactly 1 HP. We'll use Hey Nico to disrupt any timing they might have to save their Huntsman, and we will get a Tomboy to our EX. We'll save that for our next unit. Our opponent will activate Rejuvenate, getting 6 MP onto their Huntsman, and we will shield our Feline. They will get 1 Hero Shield, and we will play RiCO in the top lane. We will use Tomboy on her to hopefully get rid of their Huntsman pretty quickly here. They will activate Silent Guardian to put 1 card back in their deck, and Unwavering Faith to draw something to their EX. We will play down Feline to buff our RiCO even more, the exact unit that we wanted to. Since she still has her MP boost, she is extremely useful to us right now. Our opponent will play down Gar, which is a big problem if we didn't have our seal to deal with it as efficiently as we can. We will activate the Sanctuary's Gate that we put back with our own Silent Guardian, and our opponent will get a few shields while we use Wall Jump on RiCO, giving us the exact AP we need for Hey Nico. We'll activate that as quickly as we can, getting Ragtime to our EX, which we will use right before Feline connects with Gar, letting him do 8 damage to Gar on the 2 hits, and then defeat him on the next. Our opponent will activate Unwavering Faith, which actually has a pretty good chance to draw them into Huntsman, considering we sealed all of them, and that's the exact card they will play down, using Heart Tank to make the board even more dangerous to us. We will use Surge of Malice to stop them from getting any extra MP off of the bottom Huntsman, and they will use Sanctuary's Gate to potentially give them the edge they need to trade us out. Our units will trade a couple of blows, and we will defeat their bottom Huntsman. They will play a Larry Butts down to protect their top 2 Huntsmen, and they will use another Heart Tank, which looks like it will let them trade out our RiCO. We will play down a Nana and a Hinagiku, sealing the Nana, and they will use Rejuvenate on Larry Butts to let him survive 1 more trade, but giving him only 2 HP, I don't think it was worth it. We will play down Honda Tadakatsu, which will put our opponent on an immediate clock. They will play down Veteran Rescuer Berry and use another Heart Tank, getting a bit of HP back to their hero, and we can use Ragtime, which will let us one-shot their Berry, and they will realize that they really have to return it and get the 7 HP back. They're down to 9, and with Tadakatsu and Hinagiku getting in, we will finish off Game 2. Game 3, we are up against the other titan of the format, an extremely dripped out Oichi. it's not our best matchup, so hopefully we don't get gate-kept. We draw an extremely adaptable hand, and we'll start off with RiCO to get ourselves some early momentum. Right before the attack gets in, we will play our feline to let her contest the Proto-Angelo, and she will destroy it right before it gets the health buff. We'll play another RiCO, and our opponent will play down Kungo, the dirty pool boy. We will use Surge of Malice to seal that and our feline, and our opponent responds with Obliteration. Feels like a pretty big overspend, but it will destroy our 2 low health units. We'll put a wall jump on our RiCO in response and play down Nana in the top lane. Our opponent and us will both take a bit of damage while we charge our MP, and we will play Hanatara Katsu in the bottom, and our opponent plays themselves in the top lane. We will take this opportunity to use Gerbera, but that just lets our opponent have the exact MP for sharing memories. Guess we misread the situation a bit there. We will use the one card that lets us stay ahead here, stay close, and we will follow that up with Larry Butts and another RiCO. We are in a pretty good position while our opponent is down to about 0 MP. We'll get in a bit of damage, bringing them down to 13, and they will use summon minions, bringing them very close to 10. We'll respond with Wall Jump, and they will use Winged Obsession, which will hit a shielded unit, letting us play down another shield with our AMP. The chain will resolve, and not a lot happens for our opponent, but they are now unleashed for their oichi. We will take this opportunity to halt the oichi, which will be defeated by the 2 hits RiCO will get in. They'll play another oichi, and both of these units will get them a bit of health back. We'll defeat the first and second oichi, and we will play down our second Hara Takatsu, which just gets gate kept. We will use Silent Guardian to put a couple of our cards back, and our opponent will use Summon Minions to summon out another Proto-Angelo. We'll play down Hinagiku to trade with it before it gets any bigger, and they will play down Solo, which is now unleashed and at its full damage potential. We will use Hey Nico to get Tomboy to our EX, and we will use that on Nico since she is safe from most of their destroys. She'll go up to 312, which will make quick work of their Solo. We will play down Feline to buff her even further, and Hinagiku to seal the Feline. We will go for a very greedy Kanzuki, and we are only slightly punished for it, losing one of our units, making it a Kanzuki for 3 rather than 4. Our opponent will finally use their Howl Puppet Whale, bringing back 4 units. Thankfully, none of them were solos, but they do have a very tough field to contend with now. They'll play down Obsessive Killer Ustanak, which will defeat our bottom unit, and we will play Gar in the top lane, which will trade out their Proto-Angelo. We will get another Tomboy to our EX, and we will use that on RiCO, bringing her up to 8-9 after the damage from their Winged Obsession. Gar will be destroyed, and I think letting Gar go when we could have returned them to EX was my big misplay of the game. I'll play down Nana and Hinagiku, followed by Karen, to try and get as big a board as we can while they aren't putting as much pressure on us. They will use their second Despair, getting back a couple units, and we will attempt to make it easier to deal with using Gerbera. Our opponent responds with Purging the Heretics, which would destroy our Karen, but they are all out of cards. If we had taken the time to realize that their deck's down to 1, maybe I wouldn't have returned the card to hand, and we might have been in a better position. They will play down Goddess of Destruction Miria for 10 MP, getting back 2 Oichis, getting themselves 2 destroy actions to their EX, which they will use to clear our field. We will play down Nana and 2 Felines, trying to get the board that we need to contest this, but it's very dangerous right now. Any mistake will cost either of us the game. We will use Ragtime, which should let us trade out their entire board, but we need to be very careful of our Felines potentially destroying our only dangerous unit. They will play down a Kungo, and we will attempt to seal our Feline. They will spawn with Fated Coil to get back a unit, which should probably be unleashed in just a moment. We will seal our other Feline and use Silent Guardian the moment after we do, because we are ourselves out of cards, just as is our opponent. We'll get a couple cards back to our deck, and we will use our second Silent Guardian. Our opponent will play down Violent Decidal Schemer Wesker to infected our Nana. We still have a chance to get out of this. We'll use Wall Jump to turn our infected into something that can contest with Wesker. We'll use Gerbera to hopefully clear them out. We will play Nana to block the one lane that's open, and our opponent will use their last Despair of the game, getting back 1 solo, destroying our top unit. We will play Hinagiku in the top lane and use shield to try and give her the chance to win out over Kongo, and we will have to use Surge of Malice on the bottom lane to block lethal, but that will leave us with too little MP to block the last hit for game 3. Here we are again, and if anybody told you that you need Chun-Li to play small green this format, somebody lied to you. It's awesome. This deck does not need any changes in my opinion, and will definitely get stronger when the more busted green cards are hit next month. You could even swap the Mia back out for Honda if you like, but you will be losing a lot more to black. This deck is also a great way to train your skills in trading and making the right snap decisions. As far as matchups go, green and red don't have a good way to stop our buffs. They don't have any hard removal, so they have to actually trade us out on board, which we will always beat them at. Purple and black, on the other hand, both have easy, efficient answers to most of our units. Purple in particular, with the health reduction Dr. Psych decks, is a real tough matchup. I thought it was unwinnable at first, but if you just open Hinagiku, that is very hard for them to deal with. Potentially dropping 2 Hinagiku is unlosable against Breakaway. Even Gar early is a pretty good way to force out interaction that they can't really use to beat you with. Against black, I think the matchup is pretty even, as you saw here, with a worse build. At least against Despair. Raging Demon will hard remove most of our units and can snipe our felines when we're not ready, which will lose the game right then. I would recommend the deck to anyone who wants a deck that's all gas and always has a trick left up its sleeve. As for the next episode, there will be a Teppen quick take up within the next week, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you all for watching once again, and let me know down below what you thought of the deck and what you're doing with Hey Nico or Green this format. I think the next Teppen Deck Tech might be an unlimited format video for either Memory Yawn or Mono Green Machines. Please like the video if you liked the video, subscribe if you subscribed. Once again, I'm Scontulus, and I'll see you in the next one.